Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Really excited about this one today. We are digging into, wow, the psychology of money.
Yeah, but specifically, one core idea that seems simple but really isn't when you get down to it.
Exactly. It's this force that shapes so much in finance. But our brains just, consistently fail to grasp its power.
That's right. Our source material today, it's built around exponential growth from a chapter called Confounding Compounding, which, the title alone tells you this stuff isn't intuitive.
Right. So our mission here is to try and understand why the biggest forces, the really transformative ones, not just in money, but in geology too, why they're often the most subtle, the least obvious day to day.
Mm-hmm. And the source kicks off with this great idea. You don't actually need some massive push to get massive results.
You just need time. Lots of time.
But that's the challenge, isn't it? Our brains are wired for, straight lines, add this, get that, linear thinking.
Yeah. And that totally tricks us when things start growing exponentially. We just keep underestimating it.
Okay, so let's unpack this subtle power idea. The source uses this amazing analogy, and honestly, it's my favorite part.
Oh, yeah?
Lessons from ice ages,
Yeah.
billion-year-old geology teaching us about growing money.
Okay, I love it. Going from my retirement account statement to planet freezing events. Let's do it.
Yeah. So back in the 19th century, scientists knew Earth had gone through multiple ice ages. I think 5 distinct ones.
Right, they saw the evidence. Huge boulders moved hundreds of miles, bedrock scraped totally clean.
Exactly. Obvious signs. But the puzzle was the energy involved. Freezing the whole planet, melting it, doing that 5 times, that takes, unimaginable power.
So people guessed, right? Huge volcanoes,
Yeah.
continents shifting, solar flares, something big and dramatic. They were looking for that massive force.
Yeah, they focused on intensity. But the theory that stuck, largely thanks to Milutin Milankovic, a Serbian scientist, it pointed to something much, much gentler. He basically showed that the gravitational pull from the sun and the moon, they subtly tweak Earth's orbit, its rotation, its tilt over, tens of thousands of years.
Just tiny changes. Barely noticeable.
Pretty much. It slightly changes how much solar radiation hits different parts of the Earth. Very gradual.
But Milankovic had the core idea, right? But the source highlights this other researcher, Vladimir Kupin, a Russian meteorologist.
Yes. Kupin added a critical piece. This is fascinating.
Wasn't his insight that it wasn't actually the super cold winters causing the ice ages?
Exactly. Milankovic first thought it was brutal winters. But Kupin realized, no, the real trigger was slightly cool summers.
Summers that just weren't warm enough.
Precisely. Summers that failed to melt all of the previous winter's snow. Even just a little bit left over.
So that little patch of snow, that's the seed, the starting point.
That's the catalyst, because that little patch, it's white, right? It reflects more sunlight back into space than bare ground would.
Okay, makes sense.
So that causes a tiny bit more cooling locally, which means the next summer, maybe even less snow melts, which reflects even more sun.
It's a feedback loop. A slow, self-reinforcing cycle.
You got it. A gentle feedback loop. The source quotes glaciologist Gwen Schultz, who put it perfectly. Something like, it is not necessarily the amount of snow that causes ice sheets.
But the fact that snow, however little, lasts. I love that. Persistence over intensity.
Exactly. So you don't need a cataclysm. You just need that little bit of snow to survive the summer consistently.
And that small starting point over enough time just builds and builds.
Until you get miles-thick ice sheets covering continents. And it happens, geologically speaking, super fast, in a blink.
Wow. Okay, so the results look totally illogical from the starting point?
Yeah.
But it's just that sustained, quiet compounding.
Yep. Just gentle compounding doing its work.
So how does that translate? The market feels anything but gentle sometimes. How does that Ice Age lesson connect to, building wealth?
Well, the core lesson is identical. Small, consistent gains, if you give them enough time, fuel absolutely massive future growth.
Okay, bring in Warren Buffett.
Right. Everyone knows Buffett. Thousands of books on his genius, his stock picks.
Value investing, moats, all that.
Yeah, all the complex stuff. But the source argues that people often miss the simplest, maybe the most powerful fact about him.
Which is?
He's been a pretty good investor since he was basically a kid, literally 10 years old.
Right. He wasn't just good, he was good for an incredibly long time.
His skill is investing, no doubt, but his real secret weapon, it's just time, longevity.
And the numbers.
Yeah.
That really drive this home. His net worth, something like $84.5 billion now?
Around there, yeah. But look at when he made it.
Okay.
$84.2 billion of that total. That was accumulated after his 50th birthday.
Wait, nearly all of it after 50?
Pretty much. And get this.
Yeah.
$81.5 billion came after he was eligible for Social Security. Mid-60s.
That's insane. The vast majority of his wealth piled up late in his life.
Which shows the power of that compounding curve really taking off later on. The source uses a great thought experiment to illustrate this.
Okay, lay it on me.
So scenario A is reality. Buffett starts investing seriously around age 10. By 30, he's already a millionaire, which is like $9.3 million today, adjusted for inflation.
Okay, impressive start. Now, scenario B.
Scenario B. Imagine he's still a genius investor, gets the same amazing 22% annual return, but he lives a more, let's say, normal life trajectory.
Right.
He doesn't start seriously until age 30, maybe with $25,000 saved up, and he retires at a normal age, say 60, still gets that incredible 22% return the whole time.
Okay, same skill, just less time, started later, finished earlier. What happens?
His net worth today in that scenario B would be about $11.9 million.
Hold on, 11.9 million versus 84 billion.
Yep, that's a 99.9% reduction.
Wow. So that extra time he had, starting at 10 instead of 30 and investing past 60, that time factor was worth almost all the money.
Pretty much. His skill got him the 22%, which is amazing. But the time he let that 22% work is what created the legendary fortune. It wasn't just the rate, it was the duration.
That really reframes it. It's not just about being the smartest investor in the room.
Exactly. It makes you question what greatest even means, which leads perfectly into the next comparison.
Ah, Jim Simons. Renaissance technologies.
Right. If you measure purely by average annual return, Simons blows Buffett away. He's compounded money at something like 66% per year since 1988.
66%. That's triple Buffett's rate. So by that metric, Simons is the better investor.
By rate of return. Absolutely. Hands down.
Okay, but here's the kicker. Simons is worth around $21 billion today.
That's right, which is, still an enormous amount of money. But it's 75% less than Buffett.
Even though his return rate is 3 times higher. How does that work?
It's the time factor. Simons didn't really hit his stride with his quantitative investing style until he was 50.
Ah, so he had way less time, less than half the compounding years Buffett had.
Exactly. He had incredible returns, but over a much shorter window.
And the source did that crazy calculation. If Simons had somehow managed 66% for Buffett's entire 70-year investing career.
Oh, yeah. The number is just meaningless. It's so huge. What was it, 63 quintillion? Something?
63 quintillion, 900 quadrillion, 781 trillion. You get the idea.
Yeah.
It's a number that doesn't even make sense in terms of real-world money.
Right. It's just a mathematical absurdity. But it makes the point. Small changes in assumptions over long periods lead to wildly different, often impossible outcomes. We obsess over getting that extra 1% return.
When maybe we should obsess more about just staying in the game for another decade.
Precisely. Optimize for longevity, not just peak performance.
So why is this so hard for us? Why does exponential growth just, break our brains? The source uses that math example.
Oh, yeah, the 8.
If I ask you, what's 8 plus 8 plus 8? 9 times. You probably get 72 pretty quick. Linear. Easy.
Intuitive.
But if I ask, what's 8 times 8 times 8, 9 times?
Your head explodes. Because the answer is, 134 million? It just doesn't feel right that multiplying gives such a drastically bigger number than adding over the same number of steps.
That's the feeling. Like that 99.9% difference for Buffett. It doesn't seem mathematically possible based on our everyday linear experience.
We're anchored to the simple cause and effect we see constantly. Push this, move that.
You see this anchoring in technology too, right? The hard drive example.
Oh, that's a great one. So think about data storage. From the 1950s to 1990, that's 40 years, we collectively gained about, 296 megabytes of practical storage capacity, like total progress over decades, a slow crawl.
Feels very linear.
Totally. Then compounding kicks in. From 1990 roughly to today, we gained 100 million megabytes.
100 million, compared to less than 300 before.
Yeah. We hit 100 terabyte drives by 2019. The source points out, if you were some tech optimist back in the 50s, maybe you dreamed storage could get, 10,000 times bigger.
That would have seemed wildly optimistic then.
Right. But nobody would have realistically predicted 30 million times bigger within their lifetime. The scale is just incomprehensible beforehand.
And even the smartest people get caught by this. The Bill Gates anecdote from 2004.
Yeah. When Gmail launched offering a whole gigabyte of storage. Free.
Which seemed enormous then. And Gates apparently said something like, why would anyone need a gigabyte of storage?
Exactly. He was still anchored in that old world where you conserved every single megabyte because storage was scarce and grew slowly.
Even he couldn't quite see the exponential wave that was already building.
That's the trap. Your past experience of slow, linear progress makes it incredibly hard to internalize how fast things can change once that exponential curve really takes off. You just never get used to it.
So wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway for, us regular folks thinking about money or really any long-term project?
I think the simple conclusion the source hammers home is this. For most major successes, Buffett's wealth, tech breakthroughs, maybe even those ice ages, the key ingredient isn't usually the absolute highest rate of return or the most intense effort in short bursts.
It's longevity, consistency, sticking with it.
Yeah. Good investing, the source argues, isn't about nailing that impossible 66% return like Simon's for a few years before you inevitably blow up or burn out.
Right.
It's about earning pretty good returns, maybe like Buffett's 22%, maybe less, but returns that you can realistically stick with, that you can repeat year after year for the longest possible time.
That makes that cheeky book title idea from the source seem spot on.
Which one?
Shut Up and Wait.
Yeah.
Just one page with a long-term chart of economic growth.
Huh. Yeah, maybe that is the most powerful investment advice.
And it connects to all those other themes in the book, right? Like saving money consistently, being reasonable instead of purely rational, planning for surprises, keeping room for error.
Absolutely. All those other ideas, they aren't really about maximizing returns. They're about survival. They're about ensuring you stay in the game long enough for the compounding to actually happen.
They're about making sure you're that little patch of snow that survives the summer melt.
That's a great way to put it. It's risk management for longevity. Because, as the source concludes, this fundamental misunderstanding, this failure to really get compounding, it might be responsible for most of the disappointing results people see. Most bad trades, bad strategies.
Because we chase the high returns instead of focusing on just not stopping.
Pretty much. We focus all our energy on trying to go faster when we should probably focus more on just not crashing.
Which actually sets us up perfectly for our next deep dive. Because the flip side of compounding success is trying to get those huge, unsustainable returns. And that often leads to, well, some spectacular flameouts. Tragic stories, really.
Oh, absolutely. When the need for speed overrides the need for endurance.
Exactly. So we'll be digging into some of those cautionary tales next time.